there were glimpses of where you could tell it was her and when it wasn't her. We call her name and then she will start to like respond. She'll be like, what's happening, what's happening? Then we're like, okay, we need you to focus on us. And then she will close her eye again and then she'll open up and then she'll start to smile and then she'll start to laugh and then so they started to pray and then she just suddenly stopped struggling. So in that instance, I thought it worked. So I was like, yes, right, yes. You know, everybody's like, finally, right? And then she just suddenly turned towards him and then she's like, what makes you think your God can help you now, right?
I really don't feel good like this. I'm getting a...
Is anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
There's a expedition conducted by NCC to climb Mount Ophir. Mount Ophir is in Malaysia. Before we left for the expedition, one of my other teachers in the school was like, oh, when you're up there, you know, please be respectful lah, you know, these kind of things, you know, mountain, this kind of thing is, to some people, it's just a mountain. To some people, this is very, you have to treat it with a lot of reverence, right? So day one, we reach the resort, we will do some like jungle activity, like flying fox, this kind of thing. Then we will sleep one night, and then the next morning we start our hike up there. We start about 7, 8 like that. You reach the top maybe about 3. So you won't be able to come down before sunsets. You actually stop halfway at the ranger camp to sleep. The ranger camp is just a small area with a pebble path in the middle. Along the path is where they pitch the tents for us. I got the last 2 tents on the right corner. Behind us is a very steep downslope. So like what I said, I was at the corner, right? So we were sitting outside my tent and then we were sitting in a circle. And I can see my tent, I can see the tape across behind the tent and I can see that drop lah. So we were playing and then Uno, you have to draw cards, right? So my friend, which is your position, he stretched forward to draw the card. And then as he bent forward, I saw a stone from behind him fly into my lap. And then within those few seconds, right, it felt almost like there was a lot of stones flying at us, like raining stones. My friend was like, hey, go back into your tent, go back into your tent. So we all 4 of us went back into our tent. The other 3 guys went to their tent. And then just nice outside of my tent, I remember hearing something goes, like hit the grass next to my ear. And I heard a breath. The stone came from behind the tent, but there's no space behind the tent. Next day we woke up, wrap up camp, continue the trek down, take the bus back to the resort, and then we thought that was it. When we were taking the bus back to Singapore, the 3 guys started to share with us what happened in their tent that night. They're all 3 very scared. They were all very freaked out. They went to sleep. Let's say guy number 1 fell asleep. 2 and 3 were still awake. So they were just talking, trying to get their mind off it, right? Guy number 1 woke up and started sleep talking. And he started saying things like, the riders are coming. He said they are going to come and take us. And then he went back to sleep. Guy number 2 and 3 are freaking the hell out. And then they woke guy number 1. They're like, bro, what are you talking about? And he said, you just sleep talk. Yeah, I don't sleep talk. Okay, never mind, forget it. Guy number 2 fell asleep. Guy number 2 started to sleep talk. And he started saying similar things like, they're coming for us, they're coming for us. So guy number 3 is the one that's freaked out the most because he's heard what guy number 1 and 2 said. So along the trip back, we were trying to figure out why did this happen to us. And then we remembered, you know how they always say you must respect the forest? So I suspect the reason is because we sit down there, nothing, take stone, go and throw, see who can throw the furthest, right? So now at night the forest throw the stone back at us. She was on her period and she didn't say anything, and then apparently she didn't dispose of her pets properly. So this thing came a knocking when she was most vulnerable. She got attacked lah. So this particular senior that is a Tautan, right? He saw it, he knew it. The first thing he did was, okay, I need to carry her to the kitchen because the kitchen is the source of life. He brought her there, he put her on the floor, he took off one of his bracelets and he put on her hand. My sister was with that whole group. She said, can I help? He just told her, you hold her hand and don't let the hand touch the floor. The girl was lying down and then he was holding her forehead. She was sitting down next to her holding her hand. Then she said the whole time she holding her hand is like, wow, don't know how many kg. She just hold like that, but it's like so much force trying to make the hand go down. Just nice when I saw that when he was praying over, then her body started to lift. The girl's body started to lift. Like the exorcism, right? Like the center of the body just started to go up like that. So he started to arc upwards. Then he just started chanting louder. Then I just looked at my president. Then he said, yeah, this is real. Naturally, I think some of the people found out. I told the seniors, I was like, I need you guys help, please keep my campus entertained. I need to brief my group leaders. Found them at the back of their bunk, just sitting in a circle, just murmuring to each other. And then I told them the situation. I said, it is already being handled, right? So there's nothing much for you all to do. There's nothing much you can do either. You freak out now, so it's not going to help anybody, right? So I say, just gather your courage. Let's just do what we need to do. And then tomorrow we'll end the camp. As we stood up, one of the guys was like, can we pray together? So I was like, okay, sure, why not? So we stood in a circle and then we held hands. But at that moment, suddenly the wind started to pick up, right, in the room. Suddenly got super windy, the wind started to blow, so the windows were wooden, so they started pop, 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 pop. And then we started freaking out, and then I just turned to my friend, look at those guys that didn't close their eye, right, we look at each other. Then one of the guys was like, what the hell is happening, man? It's a room, it's not like, I mean, if both doors are open, then the wind can pass through, right? But it's only one door at the front and we were all the way at the back. Then I was just like, let's go. So we all just had a cheer. We like, okay, 1, 2, 3, woo, let's go. They did their best. I would say they did their best to keep a straight face, to keep the morale high. At this point in time, what happened in the kitchen was that the guy managed to get the thing out from the body. So he said she's going to be fine. We just need to be very alert and don't let anything else fall to this thing. At this point in time, my camp chief, I think with the load of, build up of stress and everything, right, he suddenly couldn't function. So he just broke down. And then that's when I got the radio, right? So I went over there and then I saw my camp chief, he just sitting in the corner, just out of his mind, cannot think, face is blank. He just passed me my camp chief's radio and he said, okay, now you're second in charge. Let your vice camp chief know she's in charge now. At that point in time, I wouldn't say I was scared. It was just more of a lot of stress. You're just trying to handle each situation as it comes up. We were on track to carry on the night as per normal. So we were like, everybody enjoy dinner? Yeah, that's how people were like, lame lah, eat in a basketball court. So they didn't know what was exactly happening. So that's great, right? That's the main idea. But we still had to isolate everybody, those that were involved from those that weren't. So I got called to my bunk, which is the organizing committee bunk. I had to discuss with my events head and to talk to my vice camp chief. So as I was talking to him, one of the other organizing committee girl heard she's in charge of publication, so she takes pictures. Then she's like, what's going on, guys? Why are you not telling us? So I told her, say, it doesn't concern you, don't worry about it. So I think she took offense to it. Then I think she was upset, angry, and also stressed. So she started crying, started breathing very heavily. So one of my other seniors was there. Then he was like talking to her, calm down. Why you breathing so heavily? She started to push us away. Then she started like hitting her head against the wall. So we started to put her on the bed and like hold her down. Then she started to growl. So that was the first indication that we got a bit like, oh, why are you starting to growl at us, right? She started struggling more and then she started shaking and then the bed was moving and then we were like, hey, what's going on, right? There were glimpses of where you could tell it was her and when it wasn't her. We call her name and then she would start to like respond. She'd be like, what's happening? Then we're like, okay, we need you to focus on us. And then she will close her eye again and then she'll open up and then she'll start to smile and then she'll start to laugh. In that aspect, you could tell that there was a voice change. It was a bit more menacing. Our organizing committee bunk is connected to a door to the helpers bunk. So some of the helpers heard what was going on. So they started to pray and then she just suddenly stopped struggling. So in that instance, I thought it worked. So I was like, yes, right, yes. Everybody's like, finally, right? And then she just suddenly turned towards him and then she's like, what makes you think your God can help you now, right? She just started struggling again. Then this boy was like, he just started to back off. He was like, oh no, what am I going to do? This was the part where it was a bit funny because a lot of the Malay guys were like, hey, let's try ours lah. Right? One of the guys was like, hey, let's pray what we can on her. One of the guys was like, oh, I have the book in my bag. So he grabbed the book and then he took it out. Then he was like, okay. They put the book down and then they all looked at each other and then they were like, hey, who read? So it was in Arabic, so none of them know how to read, right? Because they never go madrasah. They all looked at each other, how? Then one of the guys was like, okay, I try. But I could tell, I don't know Arabic, but I could tell it was like 6:30. Like, it's probably like CLB, They tried their best and then at this point in time, the guy found out. The guy that does this thing, the Tanki guy, he found out. He came into the room and then like he opened the door Then he's like, wow, CB, you're here, finally found you. Then he walked over with like very, very gangster stuff. Then he's like, wow, you come here asking for problem. Then he started to pray over her, do what he could, started to chant all the kind of things. Then he put another bracelet, he got a few bracelets, so he put a bracelet on her hand as well. So started to pray, and then I would say it was a good maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and then she started to calm down. We could see the life start to come back into her, like start to come back. So we thought it was okay, right? And then there was a relapse, right? Within a few minutes, the thing came back in. I mentioned the helpers that prayed over her, right? One of them brought holy water. So she passed it to the Tanki guy. Then he's like, "Aya, we try our religion again lah." So he sprinkled the holy water, and then there's no smoke, there's no like burning sound or anything, but you could tell that she really didn't like it. So he was like, he said it in the most abing way. It's like, "Oh, you don't like Okay lah, I give you more." Then he grabbed her mouth and then he just poured it inside, right? So he just poured the whole bottle of holy water into her mouth, and then she started freaking the hell out lah. Then she started like shaking and then like started screaming and shouting and scolding us. Eventually she calmed down, and then I think the thing left for good. He said, "This room, I'm gonna keep it here. I'm gonna do my best to lock it in here. So everybody must leave this room." We just took whatever we could, our toiletries, our clothes, whatever, and then we left. And then he just closed the door, and he said, "Okay, no one come into this room. This door don't open until tomorrow morning." This was what happened when I came out, because I had to show a face to my campers, right? So when I come out, the first thing I do is I have to smile. Even though I'm crying with tears in my eyes, I'm sweating like hell, first thing I do is I have to smile and act like everything's rah-rah. Then I walk around there and then go behind. We were all sitting there, just trying to calm down. I recall just closing my eyes, because I was so tired, right? And then with the build-up of stress, I was just closing my eyes, and then as I close, I start to feel that there's this overwhelming darkness coming over me. That feeling when you're going to drown is start to darken out, right? Or start to tunnel vision. So it was that feeling when I closed my eyes, I could feel something was overwhelming me. I forced myself awake, but I was like, wow, shit, I'm so tired. So I keep closing my eyes, then I open. And then I knew that I was quite sure at this point that if I had continued to close my eye, I would have been the next one. I just turned to the closest person next to me, my senior. I was like, "Hey bro, you got your phone with you?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, play me a song." Then I was like, "What song?" I was like, "Just play any song, whatever song you can find." And then he just played, "Always look on the bright side of life." And then everybody started singing. Then the mood got better, and then I just like I felt a lot of, I guess you could say I felt a lot of light in my life suddenly. And then that's where I saw my sister, and then I just break down, I just cry. I've never been very religious in my life, so now I am. But as time goes on, I guess when you expose yourself to different things, you kind of realize how important it is to believe in something, I guess. So I remember this was some of the things that happened for this particular camp lah. Yeah, then it got quite bad, because I like what I said, I recall the following year when I was an advisor for the camp. The morning I woke up, I was supposed to accompany them for their recce. I remember waking up and then all the memories just flood in. Then I was just like texting them, I was like, "I'm not feeling well." Yeah, I didn't want to go with them, but yeah, it was, like I said, this is the biggest thing that ever happened to me, but I learned so many things from it. Yeah.
I really don't feel good. I'm getting a
Is anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.